Tejo opened his eyes to pain. His head hurt. His chest hurt. Everything hurt. Smoke filled the air around him. Metal pieces were everywhere. He blinked and looked up at a strange purple sky. 2 small moons hung in the daylight, one blue and one green. This was not where the ship was supposed to be. Tejo pushed himself up and winced. His spacesuit had protected him from the worst of the crash, but he still had cuts and bruises all over. The automatic medical system in his suit beeped softly, sending pain medicine into his bloodstream. "Hello?" he called out. "Anyone there?" Only the wind answered him. The sound was strange on this unknown planet. A low whistle through the purple, plants that grew everywhere. Tejo was a ship engineer. He had been working on the great ship called Harmony when something went wrong. Very wrong. Now the ship was in pieces around him. Some parts still burned with blue and orange flames. "Captain Do-yoon?" he called. "First Officer Ji-hoo?" No answer. Tejo checked his suit computer. It still worked, which was good luck. The screen showed that the air outside could be breathed by humans. He lifted his helmet off and took a careful breath. The air smelled like mint and metal. He began to walk through the crash site. The Harmony had been a big ship with 30 crew members, 15 humans and 15 Na'vi. The Na'vi were friendly aliens who looked a bit like squids with their many arms and blue glowing skin. This trip was supposed to help humans and Na'vi become better trading partners. Now it seemed everyone was gone. Tejo found the body of Captain Do-yoon first. The captain had not been as lucky with his suit. Tejo closed the captain's eyes and said a quick prayer for his spirit. He found more bodies as he searched, human and Na'vi alike. None had survived the violent crash. Some areas of the ship were so crushed that he could not even see inside them. The sun began to set, turning the purple sky a deep red color. Tejo had been searching for hours. His suit, battery showed it was at half power. He needed to find the emergency supplies before dark. Strange howls came from the distance. This planet had animals, and they were waking up for the night. Tejo did not want to meet them without a weapon. He climbed over a large piece of ship wall and saw the storage section. It was partly crushed, but still might have useful things inside. He slid down a broken metal beam and landed with a thud. "At least the emergency beacon might be working," he said to himself. "If I can find it." The storage door was stuck. Tejo used a metal bar to pry it open. Inside, many boxes had broken open in the crash. Food packets, water containers, and medical supplies were scattered everywhere. Tejo filled a bag with as much as he could carry. He found a portable light, a knife, and a small gun for emergencies. Then he looked for the emergency beacon, the device that would send a signal to Earth and the Na'vi homeworld. He found it in a corner, damaged. The sending dish was bent badly. Tejo picked it up anyway. Maybe he could fix it. A soft sound made him turn around. At first he saw nothing, just shadows in the darkening storage room. Then he heard it again, a tiny frightened squeak. Tejo turned on his portable light and pointed it toward the sound. It came from under a fallen shelf. He moved closer and knelt down. 2 big round eyes reflected his light. They were solid black with tiny dots of white light in them, like stars. Na'vi eyes. "Hello?" Tejo said softly. "Are you hurt?" "I will not harm you." The eyes blinked. Then a small form moved in the shadows. It was a young Na'vi, not much bigger than Tejo's forearm. Its skin glowed a soft blue, pulsing with fear. Tejo had never seen such a young Na'vi before. The aliens rarely brought their children on space missions. This one must have been a secret passenger. "It is okay," Tejo said. "I am a friend. Human friend." The little Na'vi's glow dimmed slightly, showing it was a bit less afraid. It had 6 thin arms and a round head, with no legs but a lower body like a jellyfish. All Na'vi looked like this, but adult ones were much bigger than humans. This baby was tiny. Tejo held out his hand, palm up. "Come, not safe here." The howls outside were getting closer. Night was falling fast now. They needed shelter. The little Navi moved forward slowly. Then, to Tejo's surprise, it shot across the floor and wrapped its small arms around his wrist. The touch was cool and slightly wet, like holding a small octopus. "Oh," Tejo said in surprise. "You are a clingy one." The Navi's skin glowed brighter, and Tejo felt a strange tingle in his mind. The baby was afraid, but also relieved. Somehow he knew this without words. Tejo stood up carefully, not disturbing the small alien attached to his arm. "I need to find us a safe place for the night," he told it, not sure if it understood human speech. "Those howls do not sound friendly." The little Navi tightened its grip slightly. Tejo gathered the supplies with his free hand and left the storage room. Outside, the crash site looked eerie in the growing darkness. Both moons now shone brightly, casting double shadows behind every piece of wreckage. An idea came to him. The ship's control room had been built to withstand damage. If it was still partly intact, it would make a good shelter. "This way," he told his small companion, who still clung to his arm. Tejo walked through the wreckage, careful of sharp edges. The control room was at the front of the ship, which had hit the ground first. It took him 20 minutes to reach it. The room was crushed on one side, but had a small space that was still intact. The door was jammed open, but Tejo could block it with debris. He set down his supplies and began to make a small camp. All the while, the Navi child held on to him. When he needed his arm, it simply moved to cling to his shoulder instead. "You have no one else either, do you?" Tejo asked quietly. "We are the only survivors." The little alien skin glowed in patterns of blue and green. It seemed to be trying to communicate. Tejo made a small fire using broken pieces of plastic and a spark from his suit's emergency kit. The night animals howled closer now, just beyond the crash site. "Tomorrow we will try to fix the beacon," he told the Navi child. "For now we rest." He laid out a thermal blanket and sat down. The little alien finally released his arm and settled in his lap instead, its glow dimming to a soft nightlight blue. "I am Tejo," he said, pointing to himself. "Do you have a name?" The alien just blinked its star-filled eyes at him. Outside, something large moved through the wreckage. Metal scraped against metal. Tejo gripped his emergency gun and pulled the Navi child closer to his chest. No one had survived the crash, except the human and the alien child clinging to him. Now they had to survive everything else. The morning light came through the broken window of the control room. Tejo opened his eyes and felt something cool pressed against his chest. The little Navi child had curled up there during the night, all 6 arms wrapped around him. Its skin glowed a soft, peaceful blue. 3 days had passed since the crash. Tejo had made their shelter stronger using metal sheets from the ship. He had found more food and water in other parts of the wreckage. The night animals had come close but never entered the control room. "Time to wake up," Tejo said softly. The small alien stirred. Its black eyes opened, the tiny white dots inside, them moving like stars. It unwrapped 2 arms from around Tejo but kept the other 4 firmly attached. "I need to call you something," Tejo said. "You are my one companion here. In my language, one is called Hana. Would you like that name?" "Hana?" The little Navi tilted its round head, then its skin flashed a bright blue, almost like a smile. "Hana it is," Tejo said. He stood up carefully, letting Hana cling to his arm. Their morning routine had become simple. First, they would eat from the food packs. Then Tejo would check outside to make sure it was safe. After that, they would work on fixing the emergency beacon. The food packs had 2 kinds of food: human food that was dry and brown, and Navi food that looked like blue jelly. Tejo gave Hana a small piece of the blue jelly. She took it with one free arm and put it into her small mouth under her eyes. "Today we must try harder to talk to each other," Tejo said as he ate his own food. "I need to know more about you, and you need to understand me better." Hana's skin pulsed with light. Tejo wished he understood what the patterns meant. After eating, they went outside. The crash site looked less scary in daylight. The purple plants around the ship were growing taller each day. Some were already as tall as Taeho's knees. Taeho carried the broken emergency beacon to a flat piece of metal where he could work on it. He had been an engineer on the ship, so he knew how machines worked. But fixing this beacon was hard without proper tools. Hana watched him work. Sometimes she made soft clicking sounds, almost like she was trying to talk. "I wish the universal translators had not broken in the crash," Taeho said. "Then we could understand each other." The universal translators were special devices that could change Na'vi light patterns and sounds into human words. All of them had been destroyed when the ship crashed. Taeho picked up a broken piece of the beacon. "This part connects to this other part," he explained to Hana, even though he was not sure she understood. "But the connection is broken." Hana suddenly let go of his arm. She moved closer to the beacon and touched it with all 6 of her arms. Her skin began to glow brighter, changing colors from blue to green to yellow. "What are you doing?" Taeho asked. Hana ignored him. She seemed focused on the beacon. Then she moved away and began to draw in the dirt with one arm. Taeho looked at what she was drawing. It was a simple picture of the beacon, but with lines showing its inside parts. It was surprisingly good for something drawn by a child. "You know about the beacon?" Taeho asked in surprise. Hana kept drawing. She added more details to her picture, showing exactly how the inner parts should connect. Taeho stared at her. "How do you know this?" Hana stopped drawing and looked at him. Then her skin changed to show a perfect picture of the ship that had crashed. It was so detailed that Taeho could see every part clearly. "That is amazing," he said. "But I still do not understand how you know these things." Hana's skin changed again. This time it showed a picture of a larger Na'vi working on machines. The Na'vi in the picture looked like an adult version of Hana. Taeho suddenly remembered one of the crew members. "Junzaka," he said. "The ship's Na'vi engineer. Was that your parent?" Hana's skin flashed bright blue and she made a happy clicking sound. "You are Junzaka's child," Taeho said, understanding at last. "And you learned about machines from watching your parent work." This changed everything. Hana was not just a lost child. She had knowledge that could help them survive and fix the beacon. For the rest of the morning, they worked together on the beacon. Hana would show pictures on her skin of how parts should connect, and Taeho would fix them. They made more progress, in a few hours than Taeho had made in 3 days alone. When they stopped to eat again, Taeho tried something new. He drew a simple face in the dirt, then pointed to himself. "Taeho," he said clearly. Then he drew another face, smaller and rounder, and pointed to Hana. "Hana," he said. Hana watched him carefully. Then she used her arm to draw a new picture. It showed 2 figures, one tall and one small, standing together. She pointed to the picture, then to Taeho and herself. "Yes," Taeho said. "That is us. We are together." Hana added more to the picture. She drew a large shape around both figures, like a circle of protection. "Safe," Taeho said, guessing what she meant. "Yes, we will stay safe together." They continued this new way of talking through pictures for the rest of the day. By evening, they had learned many new ways to share ideas. Taeho could now understand some of Hana's light patterns, and Hana seemed to understand many of his words. As the twin moons rose again, Taeho looked at their progress on the beacon. They had fixed the main power system, but the sending dish was still too damaged to work properly. "We need more parts," he told Hana. "Tomorrow we will look in other parts of the ship." Hana's skin showed a picture of the front section of the ship, which had broken off and fallen some distance away. "Yes, that is a good place to look," Taeho agreed. "But it might be dangerous. We do not know what lives on this planet." As if to answer him, a loud howl came from the distance. It was closer than before. The night creatures were getting braver. Back in their shelter, Taeho checked his gun to make sure it would work if needed. Hana watched him from the corner where she was examining some small machine parts. Suddenly, Hana's skin flashed red. She moved quickly to Taeho and clung to his arm again. "What is wrong?" he asked. Hana's skin showed a new picture. It was the Harmony ship, but it was not crashing by accident. Something else was there in the picture. Another ship, firing weapons. The crash was not an accident? Taeho asked, shocked. Someone attacked us? Hana's skin pulsed red again. She was afraid. Taeho picked her up and held her close. It is okay. We are still alive, and now we can work together. Tomorrow we will find more parts and fix the beacon. Help will come. Hana's glow slowly returned to blue. She wrapped all 6 arms around Taeho's neck in what felt like a hug. Outside, the howls grew louder. But inside their small shelter, Taeho felt a new hope. With Hana's knowledge and his skills, they might just survive long enough to be rescued. What he did not know was that the ones who had attacked their ship were also looking for survivors. And they were much closer than the rescue teams. 2 weeks had passed since the crash. Taeho and Hana had settled into a routine. Each morning they would work on the emergency beacon. Each afternoon they would search the crash site for useful items. Each night they would hide in their shelter, as strange creatures prowled outside. The weather had been good until today. Now dark clouds filled the purple sky. The twin moons were hidden. Rain would come soon. Taeho sat on a piece of broken metal watching Hana. She was using her small arms to connect wires inside the beacon. Her skin glowed a focused yellow color as she worked. "You are very clever for someone so small," Taeho said. Hana looked up and flashed a bright blue pattern that Taeho now knew meant she was happy. Their way of talking had grown better each day. Taeho understood many of her light patterns, and Hana understood most of his words. A low rumble came from the sky. Taeho looked up, expecting thunder. Instead, he saw something that made his heart beat faster. Ships, 3 of them breaking through the clouds. "Hana, look," he said, pointing up. "Ships. Maybe rescue has come." Hana stopped working and looked up. Her skin instantly changed from yellow to deep red. She made a high clicking sound that Taeho knew meant danger. "Those are not rescue ships?" he asked. Hana shook her round head. Her skin showed a picture of the ships that had attacked the Harmony. They were the same kind. "We need to hide," Taeho said, grabbing the beacon and their few supplies. Now, they ran from their work spot to a thick area of purple plants. The plants had grown taller in the past 2 weeks. Some were now as tall as Taeho. From their hiding place, they watched the 3 ships land near the crash site. The ships were dark gray with sharp points at the front, like the teeth of a predator. Doors opened in the sides of the ships. Tall figures stepped out. They were not human or Na'vi. They were something else. "Vek," Taeho whispered. He had heard about the Vek but never seen them. They were known as hunters who thought other species were just animals to be hunted for sport. They had 4 arms like humans, but their skin was thick and gray like armor. Their heads had no eyes but 3 slits where they sensed heat and movement. The Vek carried weapons. Long guns and curved knives hung from their belts. They spread out and began to search the crash site. "They are looking for survivors," Taeho said quietly. "They want to make sure no one lived through the crash." Hana trembled against him. Her skin flashed with red light. "Your light will show them where we are," Taeho warned. "Can you stop it?" Hana tried, but the red flashes only got brighter. She was too afraid to control her light. Taeho thought quickly. He took off his jacket and made a small pouch from it. "Get in here," he told Hana. "This will hide your light." Hana climbed into the pouch. Taeho tied it to his chest, making sure there were small holes so Hana could breathe. Inside the jacket, her light was hidden. He could feel her small body pressed against his chest, her 6 arms wrapping around his torso for comfort. "We need to move away from here," Taeho whispered. "Stay quiet." He began to crawl through the tall purple plants, keeping low to the ground. The Vek were spreading out across the crash site, looking in every broken piece of the ship. Taeho had been trained as an engineer, but before that, he had been in the space military. He knew how to move without being seen. He knew how to hide. His tracks. These skills had seemed useless on a peaceful diplomatic mission. Now they might save his life. Rain began to fall. That was good. The rain would make it harder for the Vec to see or smell them. But it also made the ground muddy, which could leave tracks. Tejo kept moving, staying in the thickest parts of the plants. He could hear the Vec talking to each other in their strange, clicking language. They were getting closer. Almost to the trees. Tejo whispered to Hana. Beyond the field of purple plants was a line of tall, tree-like growths. If they could reach those, they might find better hiding places. Suddenly, a Vec voice sounded very close. One of the hunters had come into the plants just a few meters away from them. Tejo froze. He held his breath. The jacket against his chest trembled as Hana shook with fear. The Vec pushed aside the plants, looking for any sign of life. Its head turned slowly, the 3 slits scanning for heat. Tejo knew the Vec would see his body heat soon. He needed to do something now. Just then, Hana moved inside the pouch. Her skin flashed through the fabric, not in red fear patterns, but in a new kind of pattern Tejo had never seen before. The light was bright, but strange, moving in waves that made Tejo feel dizzy when he looked down at it. The Vec made a pained sound. It stepped back, its head turning away. It seemed unable to look directly at them. The strange light pattern from Hana was affecting its heat-sensing slits. Clever Hana, Tejo whispered. He used this moment to crawl away quickly, heading for the trees. Behind them, the Vec was still confused, turning in circles as if it could not tell where they had gone. They reached the trees just as the rain became heavier. The tree-like growths had thick trunks and low branches that made a good hiding place. Tejo climbed under the branches of the largest one and pulled leaves around them for cover. Only then did he open the jacket pouch to let Hana out. That was amazing, he told her. How did you know that light pattern would confuse the Vec? Hana's skin showed a picture of Na'vi adults using similar light patterns to scare away predators on their homeworld. She had remembered this from her parents' teachings. You saved us, Tejo said. My human eyes could still see through your light, but the Vec could not. Our differences make us stronger together. Hana flashed blue happiness, then went back to clinging to his arm. They watched through the leaves as more Vec joined the search. There were at least 15 hunters now, all armed and dangerous. We cannot go back to our shelter, Tejo said. They will find it soon. We need to keep moving and stay hidden until they leave. Hana showed a picture on her skin of the beacon they had been fixing. I know, Tejo said. We still need to fix it to call for help. But first we need to survive these hunters. One problem at a time. Night began to fall. The rain stopped, but dark clouds still hid the moons. This was good for hiding, but made it hard to see where to go. Tejo checked his small gun. It had enough power for 5 or 6 shots. Not enough to fight all the Vec, but maybe enough to defend themselves if they were found. We will move at night, he told Hana. The Vec might not search as well in the dark. Hana made a soft clicking sound of agreement. Then she showed a new picture on her skin. It was a map of the crash site, but it also showed a place beyond the trees, where many rocks formed caves. You found caves when you were looking through the trees? Tejo asked. Good. Caves would make a better hiding place than these trees. They waited until it was fully dark. The Vec had set up lights around the crash site, but none near the trees. Yet, this was their chance. Tejo put Hana back in the jacket pouch. Ready? He asked. He felt her tap twice against his chest, their signal for yes. Tejo moved out from under the tree branches. He stayed low and moved slowly, making sure each step was silent. His human eyes worked better in this kind of darkness than the Vec heat sensors did. Another difference that gave them an advantage. Behind them, they could hear the Vec still searching the crash site. One of them called out and the others answered. They had found something. They found our shelter, Tejo whispered. Now they know for sure someone survived. They will not stop looking. Hana tapped once against his chest, their signal for danger. The hunt had just begun, and Tejo and Hana were the prey. A month had passed since the Vec hunters arrived. Tejo and Hana had made their home in a small cave on the far side of a rocky hill. The cave was hard to find, hidden behind tall purple plants and large rocks. Inside, they had built a comfortable space. Teho had brought pieces of the ship to make beds and tools. Hana had found soft plant materials to make the cave warmer. The emergency beacon sat in the corner, still not working despite their efforts. "Good morning, Hana," Teho said as he woke up. Hana was already awake. She sat near the cave entrance, her skin glowing a soft green as she watched the sunrise. Over the past month, she had grown slightly larger. Na'vi children grew faster than human children. She turned to Teho and flashed a pattern of blue and yellow lights that meant good morning and happiness. Their way of talking had become much better. Teho understood almost all of Hana's light patterns now, and Hana understood his words and hand signs. They had created their own language together. "Any sign of the Vec?" Teho asked. Hana showed a pattern that meant no, then added more lights to show they had gone south the night before. The Vec were still hunting them. Every few days they would come close to the cave, but they had not found it yet. Teho and Hana had learned to be very careful, only going out when needed and always watching for danger. Teho sat next to Hana and shared their morning food. They had less food from the ship now, but Hana had shown Teho which plants were safe to eat. Some of them even tasted good. As they ate, Teho noticed something strange. He could feel what Hana was feeling, a sense of calm happiness. This was new. "Hana," he said slowly, "I think I can feel your feelings." Hana looked at him with her big, black eyes. She reached out one arm and touched his hand. A wave of surprise and joy passed from her to him. "How is this happening?" Teho asked. Hana showed a complex pattern on her skin. It showed two Na'vi, one adult and one child, with their arms linked. A glow surrounded them both. "Is this a Na'vi parent and child bond?" Teho asked. Hana tapped twice on his hand, meaning yes. "But I am not Na'vi," Teho said, confused. Hana showed more patterns. She showed herself clinging to Teho after the crash. Then she showed days passing, them sharing food, hiding from danger, keeping each other safe. Finally, she showed the bond growing between them. "We formed a bond like Na'vi families," Teho said, understanding. "Even though we are different species." Hana tapped yes again. Then she touched his face with a gentle arm. Teho felt a wave of affection and trust flow from her mind to his. "This explains why you clung to me when we first met," Teho said. "Na'vi children look for someone to bond with." Hana showed a sad pattern. She showed her parent, Junzaka, dying in the crash. Then herself, alone and afraid, until she found Teho. Teho felt her sadness through their bond. He gently picked her up and held her close. "I am sorry about your parent," he said, "but I am glad we found each other." Hana wrapped her arms around his neck in a hug. Their bond felt stronger than ever. Later that day, Teho went to find fresh water. Their supply was low. There was a small stream not far from the cave. Hana stayed behind to work on the beacon. The twin moons were both visible in the day sky. The weather was warm but pleasant. Teho moved carefully through the plants, always watching for Vec hunters. At the stream, he filled their water containers. As he stood up, a sharp pain hit his leg. He looked down and saw a small animal like a purple snake with 6 legs. It had bitten him. Teho kicked the creature away and limped back toward the cave. By the time he reached it, his leg was swollen and hot. He fell inside the cave entrance. "Hana," he called weakly. Hana rushed to him. Her skin flashed red alarm when she saw his leg. Through their bond, Teho felt her fear and concern. Teho's head began to feel light. The bite was poisonous. He lay down on his bed, his body burning with fever. "I need medicine," he told Hana, "but I do not know what plants can help." Hana touched his forehead. Through their bond, she sent him a feeling of determination. Then she left the cave. Teho drifted in and out of sleep. His dreams were strange. He saw images of the Na'vi homeworld, a beautiful place with tall blue trees and glowing cities. He saw Na'vi families living together, sharing bonds like the one he had with Hana. These were not his memories. They were coming through the bond from Hana. He was seeing Na'vi ancestral memories passed down through generations. In one dream, he saw ancient Na'vi meeting humans for the first time, thousands of years ago. The two species had known each other long before the current space age. This explained why humans and Na'vi could form bonds at all. Their species had crossed paths before. When Taiho woke again, Hana was next to him. She had returned with several plants. She had crushed some into a paste and was putting it on his leg bite. Others she had mixed with water for him to drink. "How did you know which plants would help?" Taiho asked weakly. Hana showed a pattern on her skin. It was Na'vi knowledge of plants and healing, passed through family bonds. Taiho drank the medicine Hana had made. It tasted bitter, but he trusted her. Through their bond, he could feel her focused concern. For 3 days, Taiho was sick with fever. Hana never left his side. She changed the plant paste on his leg and made him drink more medicine. She kept their cave safe, watching for Vek hunters while he was weak. On the 4th day, Taiho woke feeling much better. The swelling in his leg was almost gone. "You saved my life," he told Hana. "Thank you." Hana flashed happy blue patterns. Through their bond, Taiho felt her relief and joy that he was better. Then Hana showed him something she had found while looking for healing plants. It was a small device, partly damaged, a Vek communication device. "This is important," Taiho said, sitting up to look at it. "With this, we might be able to listen to the Vek. We could know where they are and what they are planning." Hana tapped twice for yes. She already understood this. "And maybe," Taiho added, "we could use parts from this to fix our beacon." They spent the rest of the day working together. Taiho used his engineering skills, and Hana used her knowledge from her parent. Through their bond, they could share ideas without words. It made their work faster and better. By nightfall, they had the Vek device working. They could hear the Vek hunters talking to each other. Most of it was in their strange language, but some was translated into common space language. "Still no sign of survivors," one Vek said. "But we will keep searching. The bounty is high." "The jamming station is working," another said. "No signals can leave this planet. The rescue ships will never find them, even if there are survivors." Taiho and Hana looked at each other. This was why their beacon would not work, even if they fixed it. The Vek had a jamming station that blocked all signals from the planet. "We need a new plan," Taiho said. "We need to find the jamming station and disable it." Through their bond, he felt Hana's agreement and determination. They were no longer just trying to survive and wait for rescue. Now they would fight back. The Vek jamming station stood on top of a rocky hill. 5 Vek guards patrolled around it day and night. The station was not large, but it had tall metal towers that sent out signals to block any communications from the planet. Taiho and Hana watched it from the safety of the purple plants. They had spent 2 days studying the station and making a plan. Now it was time to act. "Are you ready?" Taiho asked Hana. Hana, now clinging to his shoulder, flashed a pattern of determined blue and green lights. Through their bond, Taiho felt her courage and focus. Over the past weeks, their bond had grown even stronger. They could share not just feelings, but simple thoughts and images. Taiho had never felt so connected to anyone, human or alien. "Remember the plan," Taiho said. "I will create a distraction on the east side. You will enter through the small vent we found on the west side. Once inside, use your light patterns to confuse any Vek you see." Hana tapped twice on his shoulder. "For yes. Then find the main control panel and short-circuit it with your bioelectric field." This was a new ability they had discovered Hana had. Like all Na'vi, she could create small electric fields with her skin. Most Na'vi used this for communication, but Hana had learned to focus it to affect machines. "After that, run to our meeting spot," Taiho finished. "If anything goes wrong, we both retreat. Your safety is most important." Hana wrapped one small arm around his neck in a quick hug. Through their bond came a clear message. Your safety is important too. They moved through the plants, separating as they reached the edge. Taeho went east, staying low to the ground. Hana went west, her small size making it easy for her to move without being seen. Taeho reached his position and checked his makeshift weapons. He had his small gun with 3 shots left. He also had 2 bombs made from ship parts and chemicals. They would not hurt anyone, but they would make loud noises and bright flashes. He waited until he saw Hana reach the west side of the station. She was so small that the Vec guards never noticed her. Now, Taeho whispered to himself. He threw the first bomb far to the east, away from both himself and Hana. It hit the ground and exploded with a loud bang and a flash of blue light. The Vec guards turned toward the noise. 3 of them ran toward it, weapons ready. Taeho threw the second bomb in a different spot. Another bang, another flash. The last 2 guards ran to check it out. With all guards away from the station, Hana had her chance. Taeho watched her slip into the small vent they had seen earlier. She was inside. Now Taeho had to keep the guards busy. He moved to a new spot and fired 1 shot from his gun into the air. The Vec turned toward this new sound, confused and alert. Inside the station, Hana moved through small spaces where Vec would never fit. Her Navi body was perfect for this mission. She found a room with many machines and control panels. This was the main control room. 1 Vec sat at a control panel. It was larger than the guards outside and had more markings on its gray skin. It was the leader. Hana stayed hidden in the shadows. She knew what to do. She focused her skin to create a special light pattern, one that would confuse Vec vision. The room filled with pulsing, swirling lights. The Vec leader stood up, making angry clicking sounds. It could not see clearly through the light pattern. Hana moved quickly to the main control panel. She placed all 6 arms on it and focused her bioelectric field. Small sparks jumped from her skin to the machine. Alarms began to sound. The jamming system was failing. Outside, Taeho heard the alarms. That was the signal. Hana had done it. He ran toward their meeting spot, a large purple plant they had marked earlier. The Vec guards heard the alarms too. They ran back to the station, no longer interested in the strange noises. Taeho reached the meeting plant. He waited, heart beating fast. Where was Hana? Through their bond, he felt her fear. Something had gone wrong. Taeho ran toward the station. He could not leave Hana behind. As he got closer, he saw Vec guards at the entrance. They were looking for whatever had caused the system failure. Taeho felt Hana through their bond again. She was trapped inside. The Vec leader had recovered from the light confusion and was searching the room for her. I need to get her out, Taeho said to himself. He had 1 shot left in his gun and no more bombs. He needed a new plan. Then he remembered something from his military training. Vec had very good heat sensors but weak regular vision, and they hated bright, steady light. Taeho found the emergency flare from his survival kit. It would make a light so bright that it would blind Vec for several minutes. He moved close to the station entrance. 2 guards stood there. Taeho took a deep breath, then lit the flare and threw it at their feet. The flare burst into blinding white light. The Vec guards screamed and covered their head slits. Taeho ran past them into the station. Hana, he called through their bond. Where are you? He felt her response guiding him to the main control room. He ran through corridors, following her mental signal. When he reached the control room, he saw the Vec leader standing in the middle, turning in circles. It was trying to find Hana, who had hidden herself in a small space under a machine. Taeho lit his second flare and threw it into the room. The Vec leader screamed as the bright light hit its sensors. Hana, come now, Taeho called. Hana shot out from her hiding place and leaped into Taeho's arms. He caught her and held her close, feeling her relief through their bond. Let us get out of here, he said. They ran through the station and out the entrance. The guards were still blind from the first flare. Taeho and Hana escaped into the purple plants. They ran all the way back to their cave. The emergency beacon sat where they had left it, now fully repaired but useless under the jamming system. The jamming system is down, Taeho said. Let us turn on the beacon quickly before they fix it. Hana jumped down and pressed the activation button. The beacon hummed to life. Its small dish turned, sending a signal into space. A green light showed it was working. "Now we wait and hope someone hears us," Taeho said. They did not have to wait long. Just 3 hours later, Taeho heard a new sound in the sky. It was not Vec ships. It was different, familiar. "Human ships," he said, looking up. "And Na'vi ships, too." A joint rescue fleet had entered the planet's atmosphere. 6 ships, 3 human and 3 Na'vi, all marked with peace symbols. Taeho and Hana stepped out of their cave and waved their arms. Hana made her skin glow as bright as possible, creating a beacon of her own. One of the smaller ships broke away from the others and headed toward them. It landed in a clear spot near the cave. The door opened, and 2 figures stepped out. 1 human officer and 1 Na'vi official. "We picked up your beacon signal," the human officer said. "We have been searching for survivors from the Harmony for weeks." The Na'vi official moved forward, skin glowing with surprise and joy when it saw Hana. "A child of our kind alive," it said in the common language. "How is this possible?" Taeho stepped forward with Hana now riding on his shoulder, her arms gently wrapped around his neck. "No one survived the crash," he said, "except the human and the alien child clinging to him." The rescue team took them to the main ship. Doctors checked them both and found they were healthy despite their long time on the planet. The Vec ships had been driven away by the larger rescue fleet. "The bond you share is remarkable," a Na'vi doctor said, studying them. "We have never seen such a connection between our species before." Taeho and Hana stayed close together. Through their bond, they shared feelings of relief and happiness, but also worry about the future. "What will happen to Hana?" Taeho asked. The Na'vi official approached them. "She should be with her own kind to learn our ways," it said. Taeho felt Hana's fear through their bond. She did not want to be separated from him. "But," the Na'vi official continued, seeing their distress, "the bond you share cannot be broken without harm to you both. Perhaps there is another way." 1 week later, Taeho stood on the surface of the Na'vi homeworld. The buildings around him glowed with the same bioluminescence as the Na'vi themselves. It was beautiful. Hana was still with him, now officially named, as his adopted child under both human and Na'vi law. Taeho had been given a new job as a special ambassador between humans and Na'vi. "A new home," Taeho said, looking around. Hana, sitting on his shoulder, flashed happy blue lights. Through their bond, he felt her joy and belonging. The tragedy of the Harmony crash had led to something unexpected, a deeper understanding between humans and Na'vi. Taeho and Hana had shown that their species could not just work together, but truly connect. Hana wrapped her arms around Taeho in a gentle hug. She was no longer clinging from fear, but from love. Their journey had only just begun.